You've been staring at a blank page for 30 minutes. You've made a cup of tea, cleaned your keyboard, scrolled your phone, still blank, still stuck. Why is it so hard to start? In our last video, we unpacked why the blank page triggers fear and avoidance. We understood why our brains sometimes seem to actively resist starting, even when we deeply care about the outcome. But understanding the problem is only half the battle. Today, we're shifting gears. We're moving from the why to the how. We're giving you 6 science-backed strategies to defeat that fear and actually start creating, writing, building, anything. No hype, just psychology that works. Let's talk about how to conquer the blank page, for real.
The first trick is the power of the 2-minute rule. Our first weapon against the blank page is deceptively simple, yet incredibly powerful. The 2-minute rule. This technique, often highlighted in productivity science, works by drastically lowering the barrier to entry for any task, no matter how intimidating it might seem. The core idea is to break down your goal into its absolute smallest, most immediate first step, and then commit to doing that step for just 2 minutes. That's it, 2 measly minutes. For example, if you need to write a report, your 2-minute task isn't write the report. It's open the document or write the first sentence. If you want to start exercising, it's put on your workout clothes or do 5 jumping jacks. The task becomes so ridiculously small and manageable that your brain's resistance melts away. The magic of the 2-minute rule lies in its ability to bypass the initial inertia and the psychological weight of the entire project. Once you've started, even for just 2 minutes, you've gained momentum. You've broken the fear of nothing by creating something, no matter how small. And often that small start naturally leads to more. But why does something so simple actually work? The science lies in understanding inertia. In physics, an object at rest tends to stay at rest. The same principle applies to our mental state. Overcoming that initial resistance to start is the hardest part. The 2-minute rule provides that tiny initial push, making it far easier to overcome that mental inertia. It's like a small nudge that gets the ball rolling. Furthermore, even that brief action of 2 minutes starts to activate the relevant neural pathways in your brain. It signals to your mind that you are now engaged in the task, making it psychologically easier to continue. It builds a tiny bit of positive momentum and reduces the feeling of facing a completely empty void.
For the second trick is the brain dump, clearing the mental clutter. Often, the fear isn't just the emptiness, but the overwhelming feeling of everything that needs to go onto that page or into that project. Our minds become cluttered with ideas, anxieties, to-dos, and the sheer weight of it all can be paralyzing. The brain dump is simple. Take a few minutes, 5, 10, even just 2, and write down everything that's related to the task or project. Don't filter, don't judge, don't organize. Just get it all out of your head and onto paper or a digital document. This act of externalizing your thoughts has several powerful psychological benefits. Firstly, it reduces the feeling of overwhelm. Seeing everything laid out, even in a messy format, makes the task feel less abstract and more manageable. Secondly, it helps to clarify your thinking. Often, the fear of nothing is actually a fear of the unknown within our own minds. The brain dump helps to bring those hidden thoughts and ideas into the light, giving you a clearer starting point. By offloading these thoughts onto paper, we free up valuable mental space, making it easier to focus on the actual task of starting.
The third trick is shrink the target, the power of micro steps. Incredibly effective trick to conquer the blank page is to shrink the target. This takes the idea of small steps even further. Instead of thinking about the entire project, focus on the absolute tiniest, most insignificant action you can take right now. We're talking about steps so small, they feel almost silly. If you need to write an article, your micro step isn't write the introduction. It's open your writing software or type the first word. If you need to clean your room, it's pick up one sock. The power of shrinking the target lies in its ability to completely eliminate the feeling of overwhelm. There's no significant effort required, no real risk of failure, and therefore no reason for your brain to resist. It's a way to trick your mind into starting without it even realizing it.
Let's move to the fourth trick. Your brain loves closure. So we can use the Zeigarnik effect. Start, but don't finish. It sounds weird, right? But it works, thanks to something called the Zeigarnik effect. In the 1920s, psychologist Bluma Zeigarnik noticed that waiters in a cafe remembered unfinished orders much better than completed ones. She ran studies and confirmed the finding. Your brain holds on to unfinished tasks with more energy and focus than completed ones. So how do we use that? Start writing, even if it's just one sentence. Start drawing, even if it's a bad sketch. Start brainstorming, even if it's nonsense. The trick is to leave it unfinished on purpose. Because once you start, your brain creates a kind of psychological tension loop. It wants to come back. It wants to complete the thing. That's momentum, and it's the opposite of the paralysis you feel when staring at a blank page.
And here's the fifth trick. Lower the stakes, which is the science of permission to be bad. Write badly, on purpose. Why? Because perfectionism shuts down action, and science proves it. Studies on creative performance show that people do better when they're told to create the worst idea possible first, instead of aiming for brilliance. Why does this work? Because it lowers your fear of judgment. When you expect it to be messy, your brain relaxes. Psychologist Adam Grant calls this the originality trap. When people try to be original right away, they freeze. But when they're allowed to generate bad ideas first, the good ones eventually come. Try this. Write a deliberately awful opening line. Sketch the dumbest idea you can imagine. Draft an email using emoji instead of words. You're breaking the illusion that the first version has to be perfect, and that frees up your creativity. Remember, you can't edit a blank page, but you can edit a bad one.
The last trick is build a starting ritual, which is to train your brain to enter flow. Let's talk about rituals. Not magical ones, neural ones. Your brain thrives on cues, repeated actions that signal it's time to switch gears. Athletes do this, musicians do this, writers do this. It's called implementation intention, a psychology term that means linking an action with a trigger. When I make tea, I open my laptop and write 100 words. When the candle's lit, I sketch for 10 minutes. When I put on these headphones, it's work mode. Even small rituals like playing a certain playlist or sitting in the same spot can act as a mental on switch. Over time, your brain starts to associate that ritual with starting. Not finishing, not succeeding, just starting. And that's everything, because once you start, the rest becomes easier. Neuroscientist Andrew Huberman puts it this way: action creates momentum, not motivation. So stop waiting to feel ready. Train your brain to start.
To sum up, these 6 tricks, the 2-minute rule, the brain dump, shrinking the target, use the Zeigarnik effect, start, don't finish, give yourself permission to suck, lower the stakes, and build a starting ritual, train your brain, are powerful tools on their own, but they can be even more effective when used in combination. Remember, the hardest part of creating isn't the work, it's beginning the work. So start scared, start sloppy, start small, but just start.
Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these tricks resonates with you the most? Or what are your go-to methods for conquering the blank page? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Enjoyed the video? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more.